A few minutes after 12 o'clock on Thursday morning, the 21st of July 1908, in a modest little house in Ridgeway Parade, Upper Eastville, one Antonio Williams, who was a US naval pensioner and whose life had been one not only of thrilling adventure, passed away quietly. But what exactly did he do to be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor in 1879, one of the rare instances it was bestowed for a non-combat rescue? To find out, we need to go back to November 1877. But first, let's find out what else happened that year. Well, firstly, on the 29th of January 1877, the Satsuma Rebellion, a revolt of disaffected samurai in Japan, breaks out against the new imperial government. It lasts until September, when it's crushed by a professionally led army of draftees. On March the 24th, for the only time in history, the boat race between the universities of Oxford and Cambridge is declared a draw. April the 10th sees the first human cannonball act in the British Isles, and perhaps the world, performed by 17-year-old Rosa Matilda Richter at the London Royal Aquarium. On the 15th of June, Henry Assain Flipper becomes the first African-American cadet to graduate from the US Military Academy. Between the 9th and the 19th of July, the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club stages the first Wimbledon Championships in lawn tennis, and English cricketer Spencer Gore becomes the first Wimbledon Gentlemen's Singles Champion, which was actually the only event held. On the 22nd of October, the Blantyre mining disaster in Scotland kills 207 miners. And lastly, on the 30th of December, Brahms' Symphony No. 2 premieres in Vienna. But today we'll be talking about Antonio Williams and his heroic actions during an event that happened off the coast of Nags Head in North Carolina, America, on the 23rd of November, 1877. Antonio Williams was born in 1825 in Valletta, Malta. In 1845, he went to Cuba, and in the same year left the island and became apprenticed to a sailmaker in New York. And he also worked for the Merchant Navy, before joining the US Navy in 1865. Antonio was awarded the US Navy Peacetime Congressional Medal of Honor for his bravery on November the 24th, 1877. with his citation reading simply, "The courage and fidelity displayed in the loss of the USS Huron." The USS Huron was an iron-hulled gunboat in the United States Navy, blending steam power with traditional sail. Built by John Roach Sons in Chester, Pennsylvania between 1873 and 75, she was a screw steamer equipped with full-rig auxiliary sails. The Huron officially entered service on November the 15th, 1875, following her commissioning at the Philadelphia Navy Yard. Shortly after, on December the 11th, 1875, the Huron reported for duty at the Norfolk Navy Yard, and over the next 2 years she patrolled the warm waters of the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. Her maiden voyage included stops in Veracruz and Key West, before she returned to Port Royal on August the 4th, 1876. From March through June of 1877, she made calls at numerous ports across the Caribbean and along the Venezuelan coast, asserting a steady American naval presence in the region.
Word of the week.
And this week, folks, the word I give you is marine, which originates from the Latin word mare, meaning sea. This Latin term gave rise to the adjective marinus, which then evolved into the French marin and ultimately into the English word marine. Originally, it was used to describe anything related to the sea. In many European languages, including French, Dutch, and German, marine also translates to navy. The USS Huron met a tragic fate on the 23rd of November 1877, when she was driven aground off the treacherous coast of Nags Head in North Carolina, battling severe weather just after departing Virginia for a scientific expedition to the waters of Cuba. For a while they thought they were going to get the ship off, but it started to break up and the mast started to fall down. The vessel stood no chance against the brutal Atlantic storms. In the early hours of the 24th of November 1877, after the exhausted crew had struggled in vain to free her, the storm intensified. As the storm raged on, the elements showed no mercy. The battered sailors, exhausted and freezing, began to succumb. Wave after merciless wave swept men overboard, dragging them into the churning darkness. In one terrifying surge, a single wave claimed at least 12 lives at once. Towering waves and roaring winds battered the Huron until she capsized shortly after 1 a.m., claiming the lives of 98 brave officers and sailors in one of the worst peacetime disasters in U.S. Navy history. Amid the chaos, Seaman Williams performed a feat of extraordinary heroism. Risking life and limb, he plunged into the raging surf to run a safety line to shore. Pummeled by the waves, bruised and bloodied, his makeshift life raft overturned 4 times. But he refused to give in. Somehow he managed to pull 4 crewmates from the churning waters before the doomed vessel finally sank. Even though the USS Huron had run aground just 200 yards from the shore, safety was heartbreakingly out of reach. Heavy surf, strong currents, and the biting cold made the short swim to land a deadly gamble. Most of the crew clung to hope and to the ship, believing that rescue would surely come. But no one came. In a cruel twist of fate, the life-saving stations along the coast had already been shut down for the season, closed until December, leaving the men of the Huron to face the fury of the sea alone.
Help me! Help me! I can't be back!
The Sailor's Magazine, under a passage entitled A Gallant Armourer, recounts the events of the fateful night, referencing a letter sent to Seaman Williams by the Secretary of the Navy. It says,
"You gave up whatever chance of life a foothold upon the wrecked vessel offered by taking to sea, in the attempt to carry a line to the shore for the relief of your shipmates. Notwithstanding your bruises and worn condition, you helped haul 2 men out of the water, and running back into the surf, hauled out 2 more.
Antonio Williams was struck in the back during his efforts, and his injury was so severe that he spent 3 months in hospital. For his astonishing bravery, Williams was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor in 1879, one of the rare instances it was bestowed for a non-combat rescue. Today, the Huron wreck is a protected wreck site on the National Register of Historic Places and can be dived via scuba or free-dived from shore. The wreck is often marked with a buoy during the summer months. I'd like to thank those who brought this story to life. We have Mark Vinette from the History of North America podcast,